ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। ॐ श्रीकृष्ण परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अष्टादशोऽध्यायः मोक्षसंन्यासयोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च्य सिद्धिं विन्दति मानवः। श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मोत्स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्। सहजं कर्म कौन्तेय सदोषमपि न त्यजेत्। सर्वारम्भा हि दोषेण धूमेनाग्निरिवावृताः। असक्तबुद्धिः सर्वत्र जितात्मा विगतस्पृहः नैष्कर्म्यसिद्धिं परमां सन्न्यासेनाधिगच्छति। सिद्धिं प्राप्तो यथा ब्रह्म तथाप्नोति निबोध मे। समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा बुद्ध्या विशुद्धया युक्तो धृत्यात्मानं नियम्य च शब्दादीन् विषयान् त्यक्त्वा रागद्वेषौ व्युदस्य च विविक्तसेवि लघ्वाशी यत वाक्कायमानसः ध्यानयोगपरो नित्यं वैराग्यं समुपाश्रितः। अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं परिग्रहं विमुच्य निर्ममः शान्तो ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते। ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम्। भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावान्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरं सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मव्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्। चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव। मच्चित्तः सर्वदुर्गाणि मत्प्रसादात् तरिष्यसि। अथ चेत्त्वम् अहङ्कारान् न श्रोष्यसि विनङ्क्ष्यसि यदहङ्कारमा यदह यदहङ्कारमाश्रित्य न योत्स्य इति मन्यसे मिथ्यैष व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धस्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नेच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य वशोऽपि तत् ॐ तत्सत् सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु So we had started with the new verse yesterday. I will just repeat. Chandra's introduction to the next verse. I hope correct. We had started yesterday the verse 56, and in this chapter the entire vision of the Gita Shastra is summed up, making it firm and clear. He has already dealt with sannyasa. Now he is going to talk about karma yoga, a life imbued with devotion to the Lord. We have seen that worshipping the Lord by doing one's own duty, a human being gains a certain accomplishment. Swakarmana tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. By performing one's own duty in a given place and time, recognizing Dharma to be Ishvara, from whom the world has come and by whom it is pervaded, he gains success. Siddhi. What is that Siddhi? Shankara says that it is the eligibility to gain Jnana Nishtha. Because of Karma Yoga, the Antakarana is prepared and thereby he gains Jnana and then Jnana Nishtha. That means that if repeated contemplation, etc., is a necessity, one cannot circumvent it. If the mind is prepared, Jnana does not take any time, and that Jnana has its culmination in liberation. The Karma Yoga that prepares the mind for this Jnana is being praised now to make the vision clear and firm. सर्वकर्माण्यपि सदा कुर्वाणो मद्व्यपाश्रयः मत्प्रसादादवाप्नोति शाश्वतं पदमव्ययम्. सर्वकर्माणि अपि, all actions, sada kurvanah, the one who is always doing, madvyapashrayah, the one whose basis for all actions and results is me. Mat prasadat, because of my grace. Shashvatam, eternal. Avyayam, imperishable. Padam and avapnoti, gains. Sarva karmani api sada kurvanah madvyapashrayah mat prasadat shashvatam avyayam padam avapnoti. Please remember these beautiful words, madvyapashrayah and mat prasadat. The one who is always doing all proper actions, whose basis for all actions and results is myself, gains the end, which is eternal and imperishable because of my grace. I repeat, the one who is always doing all proper actions, whose basis for all actions and results is myself, gains the end, which is eternal and imperishable because of my grace. Karma Yogi also gains Jnana Nishtha. Here he shows that The karma yogi reaches the same end as the one who is committed purely to jnana and jnana nishtha. This is because a life of jnana nishtha, which entails renunciation of all other activities, will not be fruitful unless one has lived a life of prayer and prayerful activity. Krishna has said previously, but renunciation is difficult to accomplish, Arjuna, for the one who has not lived a life of karma yoga. Sannyasah tu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogatah. Living a life of renunciation is easier said than done. One must have a contemplative mind, which is acquired only as one goes through one's life. The same thing is said here. Shankara says that the use of the word api also, along with the word sarva karmani, all actions, indicates not only the actions that are to be done, hita karmas, but also those that are not to be done, pratisiddha karmas. Here it seems as though a karma yogi can do prohibited actions too. That is not the meaning of the statement of Shankara. It means two things here. Firstly, what is right and wrong is relative. What is wrong may be right when the circumstances change. Therefore, sometimes what is generally considered to be wrong may be unavoidable. In these situations, a karma yogi takes it as a part of Ishvara's order and being committed to Ishvara does that action and does not incur papa. Secondly, sometimes an action like a small hurt to some beings, like stamping an ant, etc., is done unknowingly. Even then, this karma yogi who does all actions being madhya pashraya, Shamyatam, madhya pashraya, that is being totally dedicated to Ishvara, does not incur papa. He gains that ultimate end due to the grace of Ishvara. Even a simple ethical person who has nothing to do with the Lord or religion does this. He lives a clean, legal, and ethical life, doing all that is to be done and not doing anything that is not to be done. I say both legal and ethical because even though you are clean legally, ethically you need not be. The legal code is such that you can interpret it to your own advantage even when you have transgressed the moral law. Conversely, ethically you may be right but not legally. This is a big problem in the United States where it is so easy to file a malpractice suit against a doctor. If a doctor is passing the scene of an accident, he is ethically bound to stop and give medical aid. But if anything goes wrong, he can be sued. Certain actions which are ethical become illegal. But here is a person who is living both a legal and an ethical life. He is pragmatic, but he has nothing to do with religion or Ishvara. Such a person is not a karma yogi, and his lifestyle cannot be called karma yoga. It becomes karma yoga only when you recognize Ishvara as the one who gives the results of all actions, karma phaladata, and the one who is the very law of dharma. I am saying this because there is so much confusion about karma yoga. It has come to be known as skill in action. By that definition, even an expert pickpocket becomes a karma yogi. All over the world, this is a big misconception about karma yoga, which has no support from the Gita at all. So, the karma yogi who has strong faith in Ishvara, who is a karma phaladata as well as karma adhisthata, he knows that Ishvara is the very law. And when he does the karma, all the necessary karma which are to be done, then he is a karma yogi. And he gets the jnana, and through jnana nishtha.
What is that said ethical and legal? And it is a skill in action, but it should be ethical and legal. Karma yoga,
Yeah,
whatever action.
yeah, that is what, no? That he has the faith in Ishvara, that he is the one who is the karma phaladata.
Hmm.
See, ethical means someone who is dharmic, who is following dharma to the core. He is doing only those nishiddha karma, the karmas that are ordained to be done. The pratisiddha karmas he is not doing. He is very ethical. But if he does not have, that does not make him a karma yogi. Just being dharmic is not karma yoga. You would have to also recognize that Ishvara is the karma phaladata. So there are atheists who are dharmic. They are not karma yogis. So you need that element of bhakti, of recognizing Ishvara's presence in this whole order of creation in order to become a karma yogi, to be a karma yogi.
Thank you.
This word Madhya Pashraya, very beautiful, that totally dedicated to Ishvara.
Also, the reason why we have to recognize Ishvara as a karma yogi is so that we can sublimate our ego. As long as we do not recognize Ishvara, there is the question of even surrendering to someone, isn't it? It was only I. It is only the I that shows up.
Hmm.
Very
So,
true.
for the whole purpose of being a karma yogi is that you want moksha. Whereas an atheist, an ethical person, very dharmic, he may just the purushartha is not moksha, Prabhu. He just wants to be dharmic. That's an atheist, isn't it? Atheist does not even look for liberation. For him, this is this life, that's it. He will live ethically. So in contrast, a karma yogi is on the path of moksha. And moksha is what? Is where you sublimate the small I and you merge with where the Atman is recognized, the small I is recognized as nothing but the big I. There's only one. So in order to do that, we will first have to recognize that there is this Ishvara so that we sublimate our ego.
Brahmaraji, these actions which are wrong, and here I was just, my understanding, is it correct? Like it may be the soldiers who are uh, doing their duties at the border. So when they are killing people for the protection of the country, So they are. Is it that although the action is wrong, but it is done for the dharma?
Yes, of course, yes. That is one. See, what is wrong may be right. See, killing is wrong. It is not a mandate, right? Killing for the protection of your country is right. So that is why it is relative. Right and wrong depends on the circumstances.
And the second example of the pickpocketer was given. He was skillful, but it was wrong.
Mm. So the one of the definitions of karma yoga is what? Skill in action. So that is also to be understood correctly. Just because he is a pickpocket and he does his work efficiently, he does not become a karma yogi.
And these all small papas which are done unconsciously, for that we do those yajnas, right? Bhuta yajna, we offer some food to the
Yeah,
birds.
some prayaschitta karma is done, right?
Yeah, or nitya nainitya karma also, through our daily prayers, right?
Yeah.
We get over those unconsciously done papa. So here the word pragmatic is intentionally used, that he is using more of his mind rather than heart, right? He is legal and ethical. He is living that life, but he doesn't have Ishvara as
Yeah.
karma phaladata.
And the reason why we have to consider Ishvara's presence, recognize Ishvara, is also to give up not just our ego, but also to give up our raga dveshas. See, when you compare and contrast an ethical person to a karma yogi, ethical person may be doing things the way they have to be done, but he might be very, not in the center if the results that he expects of an action come otherwise, are beyond, are other than what he expects. Whereas for a karma yogi, because he considers every result as prasada, as Ishvara's prasada, he is in a different state of mind. He is still centered. He is not shaken by his raga dveshas.
Yes, very
So
beautiful.
therefore, there is that element of antakarna shuddhi that happens with a karma yoga. That may not happen with an ethical person, with just an atheist and ethical person.
Correct. In fact, it will be inflating to his ego if he gets success every time.
Yeah, it will inflate his. So that is ego boosting. Whereas here, it is you are.
She's
Yeah,
dedicated to Ishvara. Whatever he
Yeah,
has done, he's dedicated to Ishvara.
dedicated
Not
to Ishvara. And ultimately, karma yoga is a dvaitin, because he recognizes Ishvara, but he is following the sampradaya, he's following the shastra, the Veda the guru's teachings, which are in line with the sampradaya, which tell him time and again, tattvamasi, you are that. So he's on that knowledge path as well, where he ultimately emerges. He recognizes that he's none other than Ishvara. But for that to happen, the preparedness is important. For that, the life of karma yoga is important.
What is that last sentence? When the jnana came, when you have a jnana, then you need a karma yoga. What was the last? Just scroll up. Means the last sentence. When he need the karma yoga for the people, when he has explained the next verse, no, in that last paragraph before starting this.
Here, uh,
Before this also, before this, this one last. Praise now, make them clear and firm.
the karma yoga that prepares the mind for this jnana is being praised now to make the vision clear and firm.
Hmm. Karma yoga, na? For this jnana. For the what is this jnana? For the liberation of that jnana is for liberation. Is it? Jnana nishta means
Yeah.
Is
he is.
achieved through that jnana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, continue.
If the mind is not prepared, then even though you have knowledge, but you will continue to have doubts in various things if the preparedness is not done completely. So that jnana will not reach to that jnana nishtha. But if the mind is prepared, if the antakarana is shuddha, then that will be spontaneous. That certainty will be there immediately.
Then in
So
karma yoga he will not have any doubt. He will do the only means ishwar pranidhan means whatever is surrendering, whatever karma he is doing to by the surrendering to the ishwara, and it will be legal and ethical, means it will be with the
dharmic,
dharma,
dharmic.
dharma.
Yes, very true. But at the same time, that Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Sunishchita, that is very, very important. Whatever is said in Shastra and whatever is said by Guru, that is
Hmm.
certain.
Hmm.
Then that knowledge becomes that Jnana Nishtha. He takes refuge in Ishvara. Nowhere in the Gita is there any mention of Karma Yoga without Ishvara. It is a life of prayer and prayerful attitude with reference to karma. This particular surrender is recognition of and conformity to Ishvara's dharma. That alone changes the person. Krishna makes it very clear here by saying, the one who has taken refuge in me, Madhya Pashrayah. For a karma yogi, the Lord is not separate from dharma, and he does not lose sight of this because of his raga dveshas. While choosing his course of action, he is conscious of the Lord in the form of dharma, in the form of karmadyaksha, and at the time of facing the results, he is aware of the Lord as the giver of the fruits of action, karma phala data, and receives that result as prashada. I repeat, very beautiful line. While choosing his course of action, he is conscious of the Lord in the form of dharma, in the form of karmadyaksha, and at the time of facing the results, he is aware of the Lord as the giver of fruits of actions, karma phaladata, and receives that result as prashada. At no time can he lose sight of Ishvara. This is a person for whom the basis of all actions and the source of the results of all actions is Ishvara. He is called Madhya Pashrayah, performing all actions. Sarva Karmani Kurvanah, Kurvanah. He never loses sight of Ishvara. So beautiful. Please remember this beautiful word. Whatever we do, it is, we are taking shelter in him, and it is, he is the karma phaladata, he is the karma dhyaksha, and whatever we receive it as a, we take it as a prasada buddhi.
I'm just reminded of the verse in, I think, the 9th chapter. Ananyas chintayanto mam e jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. He gives such a big surety. He says, those who are my devotees, I will surely take care of their yoga and kshema. Those ananyas chintayanto mam ejana, those that who are devoted to me with that single pointed devotion. And that implies this life of being a karma yogi. So most often we think that we are the ones charting out our life, our decisions. But actually speaking, if whatever our focus should be to do at that given point, what is to be done is to be done.
Yeah, when we do it with prasada buddhi as a yajna bhava.
Yeah, as yajna, and take everything that comes as prasada.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is conducive, see, there are 3-4 different results that can happen for any action. The result, what you expected, comes in, more than what you expected, less than what you expected, or completely opposite to what you expected. So in spite of that, moving through and accepting it as Ishvara's prasada. And that is why, in a simple sentence, Karma Yoga is not for happiness, it is out of happiness. Whatever we do out of that happy inner state. It is not for happiness. Because if it is for happiness, then you will be in for a toss. It'll be like a yo-yo. There will be happiness sometimes, you'll be unhappy sometimes. But whereas you have more chances of being a sthita prajna, stable, centered, no matter what the result.
Here it is very clear said, means um, this person for whom the basis of all actions and the source of the result of all action is Ishvara, and he never loses the sight of Ishvara. Means what you explained, 4 types of results of the action. So the sight of Ishvara is not lose, means he doesn't lose there. His
Yeah.
priority is only Ishvara in his means in his mind he is only doing for Ishvara everything.
And that is what most of the saints' lives are. If you look at some of the saints like Ramadas and Tulsidas, they went through a lot of censure from the then society. Shankaracharya, he was the Brahmin society then actually was up against him, but what kept them through was their dedication, devotion to Ishvara. They didn't lose sight of that.
So it is said bhakti, it is
Yes,
bhakti again.
yes, bhakti. I'm reminded also of what Rajima said once in her sharings. She said there was once when she had very high fever. Rajima is, for those of you who don't know, was a senior art of living teacher who did a lot of uh, Bhagavata. She would share Bhagavatam, do a lot of saptas on Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. So she had very high fever once, and the whole family had to go out for an outing. She said, "No, I cannot because I have fever." And then she was wondering, initially she had, high fever. And then she said, even this is Ishvara's prasada. It is from Ishvara. And the moment she had this attitude, this shift in her, in the way she looked at the fever she was going through, almost immediately, the fever kind of vanished. So, pleasure or pain is prasada. If we can raise our awareness, the way we respond to all those experiences that we have, if we can elevate our attitude to that level, then we're being more and more of a karma yogi.
That who is karma yogi? Then in second chapter, some shloka was there, no? Is there, no? That sama sukha dukkheshu means he is not bothered by the
Yes.
adverse. It means opposites.
Yeah. Dukkeshu manudvignamana sukeshu vigataspriyah Raga Bhaya Krodaha Stitadhir Muni Richate. I think those are all the description of
Lakshanas.
Sthita Prajna. Yeah, Lakshanas of Sthita Prajna, when Arjuna asks Krishna, how does a Sthita Prajna eat, talk, walk? What are his characteristics? Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha. So that is, but when you're a karma yogi, you're more and more of a Sthita Prajna, isn't it? Because you're not you're not tossed and turned over by your raga dveshas.
Yeah, very, very beautiful, Manana. Very nice. The takeaway is not for happiness doing things, but out of joy and happiness. Very nice line.
That out of joy and happiness comes from you are happiness. You see? You yourself are happiness. You are the source of happiness. You are forgetting that.
Very nice.
So once we know that we are that, which is paternal, which is happy, ananda. We know that. That is what out of happiness, not for happiness. We are happiness. Therefore, our course is called Happiness Program, Jai.
We are love. We are peace. We are happiness. So
We are
beautiful.
forgetting it and becoming the other way.
The whole thing comes from the basic problem,
Yeah.
the fundamental problem that I am insecure. I am not complete. I need something more to complete myself. That is the fundamental problem. Fundamental problem is also non-recognition of my true nature. So in order to complete and feel complete and full and everything, we start seeking recognition, seeking fame, name, wealth, money, whatever. But at the fundamental level, with this knowledge, if we can say, I am full, I am secure, but I will continue to work, that swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manava. That the 46th verse of chapter 18, if we can just follow, coming out of the space of fullness, like you very rightly said, fullness out of joy and happiness, then life is such a beautiful spread of, it's just one event after the other, it goes on, but you are left untouched. It is like that huge ocean in which you just drop a pebble. It makes no difference. So he is na dveshti na abhinandati. People who praise him, he's not going to be overly joyed. People who defame him, he's not going to be overly depressed. So that there were some, I think a few verses before this, every action is for Atma alone, is for the self alone. And then Atma is the only one. There is none other than that. So when such is the case, where is the question of being tossed and turned over? So this understanding comes only because we are exposed to the Shastra, Bhagavad Gita's Shastra. So without this exposure, there is no possibility of jnana. Therefore, just doing bhakti all the time without jnana is not going to be effective also. So like China said, there are two wings to moksha. One is jnana and the other is bhakti. Both are important. If you're only too much into jnana, you might again get hot-headed. Oh, I know everything. Therefore, that element of bhakti is to subdue the ego. So using both the wings, jnana and bhakti, we move ahead. Yeah.
So beautiful. By Ishvara Prasada, he gains Shashvatam Padam. Because of Ishvara's grace, Mat Prasadat, as Krishna says, he gains an end which does not come to an end. Shashvatam Avyayam Padam Avapnoti. This is moksha. How does he get Ishvara's grace? Because he has taken refuge in Ishvara, he gains Antahkarana Shuddhi, whereby there is cheerfulness, clarity, and tranquility. That is prasada. Then there is exposure to proper teaching, upadesha, that is necessary for clear knowledge. Without the grace of Ishvara, he will not find a proper guru and have access to the Shastra. The body and mind must also be conducive for his pursuit as well as the surrounding conditions. All these are due to the grace of the Lord, Ishvara Prasada. If you really look into it, you will find the whole pursuit is nothing but Ishvara Prasada. In time, the Karma Yogi gains the same Jnana Nishtha. A Karma Yogi is also a Mumukshu. He is not doing karma for the sake of heaven or anything like a karmatha. But he does karma for the sake of Antakarana Shuddhi and continues to pursue the study of the Shastra. Therefore, surely he will gain moksha. I repeat, very beautiful paragraph. By Ishvara Prasada, he gains Shashvatam Padam. Because of Ishvara's grace, Mat Prasadat, as Krishna says here, he gains an end which does not come to an end. Shashvatam Avyayam Padam Avapnoti. This is moksha. How does he get Ishvara's grace? Because he has taken refuge in Ishvara, he gains Antakarana Shuddhi, whereby there is cheerfulness, clarity, and tranquility. That is prasada. Then there is exposure to proper teaching, upadesha, that is necessary for clear knowledge. Without the grace of Ishvara, he will not find a proper guru and have access to the Shastra. The body and mind must also be conducive for his pursuit as well as the surrounding conditions. All these are due to the grace of the Lord, Ishvara Prasada. If you really look into it, you will find the whole pursuit is nothing but Ishvara Prasada. In time, the Karma Yogi gains the same Jnana Nishtha. A Karma Yogi is also a Mumukshu. He is not doing karma for the sake of heaven or anything like a Karmatha, but he does karma for the sake of Antakarana Shuddhi and continues to pursue the study of the Shastra. Therefore, surely he will gain moksha. This being so, Krishna asks Arjuna to do his duty with the attitude of Karma Yoga. So, with his grace, with the grace, he gets the moksha. When you live a prayerful life with a prayerful attitude, yajna bhava, your antakarana shuddhi happens, and through that there is a clarity of mind, confusion-free mind, and with that dhriti and utsah, you do your karma.
Can you just repeat that last part, one paragraph? Yeah, because of Ishvara's grace. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the word is maybe, you're exposed to prasada. It is prasada. There's no an H in prasada. Just wanted to know.
Prasada. Yeah, dhanyavad. Prasada. Okay.
Yes, it is sir, not sure.
Okay. Dhanyavad. Prasada. By Ishvara Prasada, he gains Shashvatam Padam. Because of Ishvara's grace, Mat Prasadat, as Krishna says, he gains an end which does not come to an end. Shashvatam Avyayam Padam Avapnoti. This is moksha. How does he get Ishvara's grace? Because he has taken refuge in Ishvara, he gains Antakarana Shuddhi, whereby there is cheerfulness, clarity, and tranquility. That is prasada. Then there is exposure to proper teaching, upadesha, that is necessary for clear knowledge. Without the grace of Ishvara, he will not find a proper guru and have access to the Shastra. The body and mind must also be conducive for his pursuit as well as the surrounding conditions. All these are due to the grace of the Lord, Ishvara Prasada. If you really look into it, you will find the whole pursuit is nothing but Ishvara Prasada. In time, the Karma Yogi gains the same Jnana Nishtha. A Karma Yogi is also a Mumukshu. He is not doing karma for the sake of heaven or anything like a Karmatha, but he does karma for the sake of Antakarana Shuddhi and continues to pursue the study of the Shastra. Therefore, surely he will gain moksha. This being so, Krishna asked Arjuna to do his duty with the attitude of Karma Yoga. Anyone wants to share? Very important.
That is what, that is in time. That is important. It takes time. Jnana is, when you get jnana, just immediately it happens. But Karma Yoga, in time.
Actually, when we know in which chapter we are of Bhagavad Gita, then ultimately when chapter 18 comes, all 17 chapters are described here. So, exactly in which chapter you are now, that is clear from this 18th chapter. Because bhakti is also necessary, there is a jnana is also necessary, karma yoga is also necessary, and because of only these all things, when the total shuddhi means antakaran shuddhi and ishwara's grace is there, and conducive atmosphere and body, when everything is available by grace, only then you will be able to have that jnana nishta, or knowing that Satchidananda, whatever you are.
In bhakti, your ego is dissolved. So that is very, very important. You will do karma yoga with all the bhavana, but without bhakti, that is complete surrender. That ego, if you don't surrender the ego, this jnana nishta will not happen. So it is rightly said, so we should have jnana also, and also bhakti. Surrendering is a must. Otherwise, I did it. That happens. It is only due to the Ishvara's grace, and that also is Ishvara Prasada.
Unless he is mumukshu, he is not able to follow the karma yoga also, because he doesn't know what exactly the karma yoga should be. That mumukshatva means that.
That is
mm,
what the difference between the ethical person and the karma yogi.
Very beautiful. May I request Sumaji or somebody to take over after 5 minutes, please? If it is possible, whoever
Yeah,
can.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, dhanyavad. Anyone wants to share? Okay, I'll proceed to the next verse. चेतसा सर्वकर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः बुद्धियोगमुपाश्रित्य मच्चित्तः सततं भव. Chetasa, with the mind, sarvakarmani, all actions, mai, sanyasya, renouncing unto me, matparaha, sana, matparaha, sana, being the one whose only end is me. Buddhi yogam, a life of karma yoga, upashritya, resorting to, satatam, always, matchittaha, the one whose mind is in me, bhava, may you become, chetasa sarvakarmani mayi sanyasya matparahasana buddhi yogam upashritya satatam matchittaha bhava. being one whose only end is myself, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, resorting to a life of karma yoga, may you become one whose mind is always in me. I repeat, being one whose only end is myself, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, resorting to a life of karma yoga, may you become one whose mind is always in me. I think this is a blessing by Bhagavan. So beautiful.
Can you read it again?
Yeah. Read this shloka also again. It is so beautiful. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogamupashritya machitta satatam bhava. Being one whose only end is myself, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, resorting to a life of karma yoga, may you become one whose mind is always in me. Therefore, Arjuna, Dhanyavad Sumaji. It is page 356, dear.
So, like the tambura, rather than I want, it has to be Ishvara, Ishvara at the back of our mind. Whatever we do,
What was the
of that,
Premji used to say? Where should be the Ishvara in between? What some line he
yeah,
has very fit.
Madhava, Madhava, no, Radhika, Radhika, Antare Madhava. So that even between one thought and the other, that the gap between two thoughts, there is Madhava. So that is one. But how do we keep this Machitta Satatam Bhava? How do we practically apply that in our day-to-day lives? No?
I think when we read the charitra of these all devotees, like Narsi Mehta, Ek Sant Eknatha, Mirabai, it automatically happens. Their whole life was only Ishvara. I mean, they had nothing else in mind.
All santas, Sant Tukaram, all those, if you see, Kumbar, everyone, they are always involved in that matparaha, that is, one whose mind is in me. And matparaha, being the one whose end is me. That is the goal, vision. And the goal is the one whose mind is in me. Matchitta. These two words are very, very good. Matparaha and Matchitta. Matchitara is, Matparaha is the goal. That is the one-pointedness goal we have to have vision. And Machita is completely surrendering. Beautiful this is. This is the summary of whatever we just read. So good. Jai Gurudev.
Shall I continue?
Yes,
Being the
Sumaji.
one whose only end is myself, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, resorting to a life of Karma Yoga, may you become one whose mind is always in me. Therefore, Arjuna, take to Karma Yoga. Always have your mind in me. Arjuna's advice, may you become one whose mind is always with me. Mat chitta satatam bhava. Certain minds are not in Parameshwara at all. For others, the mind is in Parameshwara occasionally on certain days, like Friday or Sunday, and at certain times, like morning and evening. In those moments of prayer, the mind is committed to Ishvara, but not otherwise. Here, Krishna is asking Arjuna to become one whose mind is always with me. What does this mean? Should he never have any other thought other than that of Parameshwara? How can he always think of Ishvara and go about doing his work? It is possible only when he appreciates that everything, the whole Jagat, is Ishvara. Then doing anything or not doing anything, he never misses Ishvara. Mentally, am I audible?
Crystal clear.
Okay. Mentally renounce all your actions unto me. Krishna says, Chetasa. By the mind, one should renounce all actions. What kind of mind does he talk about? Shankara says, it is a mind that has discrimination, viveka, activities that have two different types of results, seen, drishta, as well as unseen, adrishta. When you do charity, for instance, there is a visible result in the form of the satisfaction you get and an unseen result called punya, which will manifest as something desirable later. Similarly, when you perform a ritual or offer daily prayers, there is the immediate result of antakarna shuddhi, your composure and acceptance of whatever has happened, giving a degree of freedom from ragadveshas. Then, whether you want it or not, there is punya accrued as a result of these actions. Some karmas are done for the purpose of an immediate result, like antakarna shuddhi, and some are done for a result that is to be realized later, like heaven. All these actions, sarva karmani, are to be offered to Ishvara with a proper attitude. Lord Krishna says, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, chetasa sarva karmani mai sannyasa. This is the proper attitude. Previously, he had said, whatever you do it as an offering to me. Yat karosi tat purushva madarpanam. Because something presents itself to be done by you, therefore do it. This is Ishvara's order. Something presents itself to be done by you, therefore you do it. This is Ishvara's order. The very fact that you are placed in a given situation which calls for an action on your part means that you are caught in this fabric of Ishvara. To appreciate this fact that the action which you have got to do is enjoined by Ishvara is not an ordinary thing. If you analyze it, you will find that any inevitability is nothing but Ishvara. In common parlance, there is an expression, man proposes, God disposes, or whatever happens is said to be Ishvara's will, Ishvarecha. Ishvarecha. This has to be understood properly. It is not that God goes about deciding something to happen to you. He is not going to decide about the headache you may get tomorrow. It is the law that is Ishvara. Ishvarecha implies your own past karma, and that law of karma, law of dharma, that brings about a given result is not merely mechanical. It is a manifestation of Ishvara, the conscious being. Any inevitable situation is Ishvarecha, and once you understand that, you do whatever the situation calls for. It is a part of the whole colossal yajna of the cosmos, in which there is a constant flux of creation, sustenance, and dissolution. I'll read this again. Any inevitable situation is Ishvarecha, and once you understand that, you do whatever the situation calls for. It is a part of the whole colossal yajna of the cosmos, in which there is a constant flux of creation, sustenance, and dissolution. Our post point, present moment, is inevitable. The creation is something like a boiling pot of water. You find an arrangement of bubbles that keeps on changing, but it is all very logical. One bubble is big, another is small. One has burst already, another is just breaking up. There is logic that determines why a bubble is here now, why one is big or small, etc. They all follow some laws, which perhaps we have not yet decoded. We are like bubbles. Each one of us has to do certain things at a certain time, and this is Ishvarecha. When the called for actions are done with a mind that has this appreciation, it is an offering to Ishvara. So each one has to do certain things at a certain time, and this is Ishvarecha. When the called for actions are done with a mind that has this appreciation, it is an offering to Ishvara. Have me as your only end. This person, Krishna says, is Matparaha, the one for whom Ishvara is paramount. Ishvara is the only end for him, nothing else. He does not use Ishvara as an accomplice for gaining smaller ends. Not that there is anything wrong with making use of Ishvara's grace for the purpose of getting some small result. A person who does so is also a devotee, an artharthi. But here we are talking about a jignasu, one who wants Ishvara's grace not to gain some small end, but to gain Ishvara. Being one for whom Ishvara is the end. He has no other refuge but Ishvara. Krishna says, take refuge. Upashritya. In a life of karma yoga, here called buddhi yoga. I want to read this again. Being one for whom Ishvara is the end, he has no other refuge but Ishvara. Krishna says, taking refuge, upashritaya, in a life of karma yoga, here called buddhi yoga. May you become one whose mind is always resolved in me. Machitta satatam bhava. Not in the morning or in the evening, but always surrendered at the feet of Bhagavan. Karma Yoga is a life of surrender, a religious life. Ishvara has to be accepted, and therefore there is no secular Karma Yoga.
Very nicely done, sir.
Very nice, yeah. So nice. When you want to accomplish things without Ishvara, you create a lot of unnecessary pressure because you are taking charge of things that you are not capable of controlling. When you make yourself responsible for things for which you are not responsible at all, you build up pressure and invite problems. In the beginning, you may enjoy some success, but later you will suffer a breakdown. In Karma Yoga, efficiency is natural because you are free from anxiety. When there is no pressure, all your faculties are available to you because you do not spend your time worrying about what will happen. You just do what you can do. Real efficiency is not perfection. It is the availability of the total person. All your faculties, your emotion, your mind, senses, and skills are available for the task at hand. All your faculties, your emotion, your mind, your senses, your skills are available for the task at hand. And the fact that what is available is limited is not a problem. Everybody has limited powers, but the limited powers you have are at your disposal because you are using them for making an offering to Ishvara. There is no question of your not being efficient, but it is not right to define Karma Yoga as efficiency in work. Karma Yoga is purely a religious life. So there is no Karma Yoga without devotion. Shankara says Buddhi Yoga is a firm resolve of the mind. As we saw in the second chapter, the one who has discovered that moksha is the only purushartha has a mind that is resolute, while the one who has not properly ascertained this end has a mind that is fragmented. If the end is not clear, the ends are endless. And if the end is very clear, the only project I have is fixing up myself so that I can understand my identity with Ishvara. Everything is for that purpose, and therefore everything has a purpose. No matter what it takes, no matter how many years it takes, it does not matter. The resolution, the commitment is to moksha as the end, and therefore karma becomes yoga. If one's mind is always resolved in Ishvara, then what happens? Okay, do you want to have any sharing? So beautiful this one is, no?
Can someone sum up it?
I think if you can reread it one more time.
Read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being one whose only end is myself, mentally renouncing all actions unto me, resorting to a life of karma yoga, may you become one whose mind is always in me. Therefore, Arjuna, take to karma yoga, always have your mind in me, Arjuna's advised. May you become one whose mind is always with me, Matchitta Satatam Bhava. Certain minds are not in Parameshwara at all. For others, the mind is in Parameshwara occasionally on certain days, like Friday or Sunday, and at certain times, like morning and evening. In those moments of prayer, the mind is committed to Ishvara, but not otherwise. Here, Krishna is asking Arjuna to be one whose mind is always with me. What does this mean? Should he never have any other thought other than that of Parameshwara? How can he always think of Ishvara and go about doing his work? It is possible only when he appreciates that everything, the whole Jagat, is Ishvara. Then doing anything or not doing anything, he never misses Ishvara. This point is very clear, no? Mentally renounce all your actions unto me. So seeing the whole Jagat as Ishvara, you will not miss Ishvara. But that thought, that whole Jagat is Ishvara, we have to cultivate. We are not used to that. We need to cultivate that. That is the point here. Mentally renounce all your actions unto me. Krishna says, Chetasa. By the mind, one should renounce all actions. What kind of mind does he talk about? Shankara says it is a mind that has discrimination, viveka. Activities have two different types of results: seen, drishta, as well as unseen, adrishta. When you do charity, for instance, there is a visible result in the form of the satisfaction you get, and an unseen result called punya, which will manifest as something desirable later. Similarly, when you perform a ritual or offer daily prayers, there is the immediate result of antakarna shuddhi, your composure and acceptance of whatever has happened, giving a degree of freedom from ragadveshas. Then, whether you want it or not, there is punya accrued as a result of these actions. Some karmas are done for the purpose of an immediate result, like antakarna shuddhi, and some are done for a result that is to be realized later, like heaven. All these actions, sarva karmani, are to be offered to Ishvara with a proper attitude. Lord Krishna says, mentally renouncing all actions unto me. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sannyasa. This is the proper attitude. I have a doubt here. So he says that when we do our daily prayers and all that, we get some immediate antakarna shuddhi, freedom from raga dveshas for those moments. So what should be our attitude at that time when we are doing our prayers?
Repeat the question. What is the attitude?
See, Bhagwan says that that any action has drishta and adrishta phala. So when we are doing our daily prayers, the drishta phala is antakarna shuddhi. Immediately there is some composure and there is some peace and all that. So for a moment, we get freedom from raga dveshas. So this is the drishta phala. And adrishta phala, he says that you will get some punya will be accrued, whether you like it or not. My question is, when we do these daily prayers, what should be the proper attitude?
I
Bhagwan
think it
says,
is Sharan. It
It
is
should be
Sharanagati.
Nishkam bhav, like without any asking. You're not asking. You are just doing the stuti, like you are whatever you in whichever way we are praying, we are doing the
No,
daily
our
necessary
attitude
karma.
should be gratefulness.
No, no, like I'm saying,
Gratitude.
We are
we
doing
should
it
not
for
Attitude.
be
only
asking.
Ishvara, so no, nothing will happen. Nothing, no thought, nothing
Idam
will happen.
Namama.
We
Yeah,
are just
we
doing
should
it,
not be
performing it.
Yeah,
asking.
gratefulness.
Yeah.
Sharanagati and
Thanks
Idam
for
Namama.
everything, whatever is given.
Idam Namama, I think, is like Sharanagati, Idam
Correct.
Namama. Gratitude.
I'm not doing.
I'm not the
We are
doer.
praising
Idam
also.
Namama.
We are praising also. We are thanking also. We are feeling grateful also. That feeling we should be having. One
Gurudev
should
says
not
na
be
prayer
asking
happens
anything.
in two.
Like if you have something in your mind, if you are asking for something, then that your attention would be focused on more on that, and that is a selfish motive, no? So if it
Yeah.
is uh, you are asking, you are just doing with that nishkam bhav, nothing like with
Yeah,
that
but
mental peace.
even to whom you are going to ask, we can ask only God and Guru only, no? So asking
Yeah,
also is okay if it has come, and then surrender it. If it is better than this, let it come. Like that also surrendering it. But asking is also if a bhakta, if bhakta doesn't
no,
go
no,
to
she's
God
asking
to
about
ask.
like we do the daily prayers. Daily prayers doesn't need to be like or every time
Yeah,
you don't need to ask for something or
yeah.
the
But
other.
if some demand, some
Yeah,
sankalpa,
some yes, of
something
course.
comes
When
up,
something is
that's
there, then
okay.
you can put
Sarve
there.
bhavantu sukhina.
Yeah,
Sarve bhavantu sukhina. We always say no. Sarve santu
yeah,
niramaya.
yeah. That is
Nitya
Yeah.
correct.
karma.
No, my
How the
question
Nitya karma.
is, yeah, my question, all what you said is correct. That we can ask, who else we can ask? Only Bhagwan we can ask. So we can ask, we can pray, do all that. And that brings us some composure, calmness, some um,
Follow
security
intention.
feeling, all that. So we get freedom from raga dveshas in those moments when we are doing our prayer. Now, Bhagavan says, mentally renouncing all actions unto me. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sannyasa. This is the proper attitude. That is where I'm stuck.
No, see, when you ask for something, to whom you will ask usually?
Bhagavan.
Means we
Mother,
are
mother.
considering that he is the person. Means we are not, what I mean is,
We are in Dvaita Bhava. And see,
not right.
puja happens
Right
only
bhava,
in
see,
Dvaita
prayers is
Bhava.
always there, right bhava.
Puja
When we do
happens only
prayer,
in
it is always the
Dvaita Bhava.
right bhava. But in that, we are conceding the uh, uh, greatness of the God. Means we are nothing, we are surrendering, and whatever, see, whatever you can achieve, you will achieve by your work. You know it. But when we will pray, which you cannot do, which is out of your hands, then you'll say, you give me the grace or you give me the intellect to achieve that work. So that is what is matparaha. You know,
I think I got a slight idea. When you go back to the meaning, he says, with the mind, sarva karmani, all actions, mai sannyasa, renouncing unto me.
me,
Yeah.
So with
Mai
matparaha.
your
sannyasia.
mind,
See,
Yeah,
if
this is
you
my wish.
consider
This
the
is my
Vibhuti
wish.
Yoga, I think too
This
many.
is my
Yeah,
wish,
please
and I am
continue,
surrendering it
Madhuriji.
to you. Yeah, this is my wish, and I am surrendering it to you. You take the call. Whatever is best for me, you will do it for me. That's all. So it includes everything. Your wish also you have asked, and then you are surrendering also, and uh, let the best be, let the best happen, and then just leave it. That is the prayer, no? And surrender
That,
also, and
yeah.
idam namama. When you take the responsibility on your head with ego, then only it creates all stresses, and you get bogged down also, no? And then slowly your decisions go haywire also. But when you are in the surrender mode and let the best be happen, then where the doership is there, you are just in the flow. So automatically, intuitively, you will be following the nature's laws also, and then you will be given all the strength to fulfill whatever you have asked for. All the powers will come to you for sure.
So this is the attitude of renouncing, mentally renouncing all actions unto me. So not, as
That
you said,
is
you're very
no,
right.
that is
Not
yeah,
ownership
that is
of, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
See, even the act of prayer, if we can say, this is all your grace. Even the fact that I'm able to pray, I'm able to do my job, and this is not just at the seat of, in the puja mandir. Swakarmana tamabhyarcha. Doing everything, our daily activities. We're able to breathe, we're able to walk, speak, talk, listen, understand. All that is because of His grace. When we can, have that attitude that it is nothing of my doing, it is all your grace that all this is happening. That would also amount to keeping Him in our machitta. And we're renouncing sarva karmani sanyasta. So you are, what are you renouncing? It is not the action you're renouncing. You're renouncing the result. Whatever the result is, you're fine with it.
Yeah.
I think we'll close
You are
here today.
renouncing your ego.
Yeah. So we'll close here today, and we'll continue tomorrow. You can start maybe from this shloka one more time, and we'll continue. Om
Tomorrow I won't
lokas.
be here.
Yeah, no problem. Om loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om tat sat. Shri Krishna arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. Would you be able to play the Maya Panchakam, Sumaji?
I'll have to look for it now. Just a minute.
निरुपमनित्यनिरंशकेऽप्यखण्डे मयि चिति सर्वविकल्पनादिशून्ये घटयति जगदीश जीवभेदम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया श्रुतिशतनिगमान्तशोधकानपि अहधनादिनिदर्शनेन सद्यः कलुषयति चतुष्पदाद्यभिन्ना न घटितघटना पडीयसी माया सुखचिदखण्डविबोधमद्वितीयम् वियदनलादिविनिर्मित्ते नियोज्य भ्रमयति भवसागरे नितान्तम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया अपगतगुणवर्णजातिभेदे सुखचितिविप्रविडाद्यहङ्कृतिं च स्फुटयति सुतदारकेहमोहम् त्वघटितघटना पटीयसी माया विधिहरिहरविभेदमप्यखण्डे बत विरचय्य बुधानपि प्रकामम् भ्रमयति हरिहरविभेदभावान् घटितघटना पडीयसी माया त्वघटितघटना पडीयसी माया